Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at this vampire Superman from Mcfarlane DC Multiverse, or Mcfarlane DC Multiverse Superman in the whole DC versus vampire line, which I don't understand how it's DC versus vampires when it's just, it's just all the characters as vampires, but whatever, doesn't matter. We've got the figure here. It actually is a really good figure, and you guys know I've kind of been a little disillusioned with Mcfarlane in the last few months, but this is a solid figure. And just to get it right out of the way right up front, the reason that I think this is a solid figure, other than the fact that I'm just a huge Superman fan, is because it's basically just Page Puncher's Superman with new head, new hands, and obviously a redeco there. And I think this is one of the best Superman that Mcfarlane has put out. I'm a huge fan of this sculpt. I think it looks great as Superman, even though on this Page Puncher's here, his hands are way too big for this body. It's a great Superman because I absolutely hate that for some reason Mcfarlane cannot stop using the Bizarro buck for Superman. Superman is not supposed to be this big, hulking, misshapen thing. He's supposed to look more normal. That's why it's the Bizarro buck, yet he keeps using it over and over and over again for Superman, which makes no sense whatsoever. So when he does do something like this Page Puncher's here, I like it a lot better because it looks more like Superman. And so the fact that he went with that buck to do the vampire Superman, I think great choice right there. And as a huge Superman fan, I love it. Now, a friend of mine picked this up for me, so I just want to give him a shout out. Corey, thank you for picking this one up for me, because I do absolutely love it. And I think they did a great job. Again, there's no need to go over articulation or anything like that on this figure right here. It's all standard stuff. You know, you've got the standard double jointed knees and elbows and wrists and neck and torso, and it's the same as the Page Punchers. It's the same as every Mcfarlane. And it's just really well done figure. The head sculpt looks really, really good. I think they did a great job on that. The hands look great. Obviously, the buck itself is just as good as it always was. The only thing I don't like about this one, or really any of Mcfarlane's stuff, are these stylized capes. I hate these. You know, if you want a stylized cape, use cloth goods with wire in it. Otherwise, just give me a regular straight cape, okay? I don't need it to look like it's blowing in the wind on my shelf. I hate these. I think they look dumb, and they make, displaying much more difficult, because to get these shapes, you usually have to have a thicker material on the back, which makes them kind of more prone to fall backwards on your shelf. Plus, a lot of times the cape sticks out to one side or the other and, gets in the way of figures next to it on the shelf. I just don't like it at all. This one is a little less offensive. It's not as thick in the back, although you can see it does stick out here, so it adds a little weight to the back. And it doesn't stick out as much on the sides as some of the other capes that we've seen Mcfarlane put out there. So this one's not as offensive, but still, I hate it. Other than that, the figure is absolutely fantastic. So what I want to do now is I want to throw it up with some other figures just to give you an idea of what this guy is going to look like on your Mcfarlane shelf. Alright, so we've got a couple other representations of Superman from Mcfarlane. On the left, we've got the black-suited Superman from Superman and Lois, whatever that one was called. This is really the only Bizarro body buck figure that Mcfarlane has put out for Superman that I can actually stand. And I think it's because he's solid black, so he just doesn't look as bad, just visually speaking. Plus, I was able to throw a custom cape on him, and I think it just makes it look a lot better of a figure. But then, of course, over on the right, we've got, Superman from Action Comics 1000. This body buck is great for Superman. The only problem with this buck is that it doesn't have double jointed arms. If he would just fix that, this is the perfect buck for Superman right there on the right. I don't know why he doesn't just fix that and use that one, but he doesn't for some reason. But anyway, these are two of the better Supermen from Mcfarlane in my collection, and I think this one stacks up really nicely with them. He might be just a hair shorter than both of them, and certainly he's not as bulky as either one. Certainly not the Bizarro body buck there on the left, but even compared to the Superman 1000, he's a little slimmer, but I'm okay with it. And I think especially as, maybe even more so, as a vampire Superman as opposed to a standard Superman like with Page Punchers, I think that kind of slimmer look looks good for this character in this figure, in this version of Superman. All right, so let's talk price here real quick. This guy retails for 25 bucks. Question being, is it worth it? Yeah, for 25 bucks, I think it is worth it. It's one of the better bucks that Mcfarlane has put out for Superman. I think the sculpt on the head and the hands is done really well. I like the redeco. I think it works really, really well for a vampire Superman. I think they did a fantastic job on this all across the board. That being said, finding this dude at retail now at this point is pretty much impossible. And what he is fetching on the aftermarket is in the usually $35 to $40 range, give or take, is what I'm seeing him on the aftermarket. Is he worth it at that price, 35 to 40 bucks? And I say no. There's no way. I'm sorry. This is not a $35 to $40 figure. It's cool. I like it. I think they did a great job, but I would not pay more than retail for this guy. There's nothing really that pops about it. There's nothing amazing about it. It's, 95% reuse with a cool head sculpt and hand sculpt. But Vampire Superman, not a lot of people care about that, if I'm honest. Even me as a hardcore Superman fan, this was not at the top of my list or anything like that. Like, I'm glad I have it. It's a really cool figure, but there's no way I would have paid more than retail for this guy. So, take that for what you will. Look, if you can hold off and wait till you can find one, I don't know, maybe out of the package or something like that, when people eventually realize this wasn't worth the 40 bucks they paid for it, and you can get it for like 20, 25 or something like that, cool, wait for that. This is not a must-have figure. It's a really cool figure, but do not overspend on this guy, period, because it's just not worth it, okay? Do not spend NECA prices on this Mcfarlane figure that honestly might even kind of be overpriced at 25 bucks. This should have been a $20 figure. So cool figure, I love it, I'm glad I have it. Thank you to Corey for sending it to me, but do not overspend on this guy. It's just not worth it. But that is it, guys. That's my opinion on this guy. I think he's a pretty cool figure. If you can pick him up for a good price, definitely do so. But we'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know. Do you have this guy? If you do, what do you think of him? Or if you have absolutely no interest in him, let me know in the comment section down below as well. So, thank you guys for watching. And as I always like to say at the end of all my videos, always remember to enjoy your collection.